Jungling is the most complicated role in League of Legends, bar none. There's a lot that goes into it, but with any high rise, there's the foundations that hold it all together. I've been playing since Season 1, and despite all the changes that have happened over the years, there are a few things that still translate to this day. So today, I want to tell you the fundamentals of jungling. Firstly, knowing where the enemy jungler is invaluable. Since it's illegal to use map hacks in League of Legends, we've got to come up with the next best thing, which is tracking the enemy jungler. Let me start this off by saying that this is by no means an easy thing to do, so if you suck at it, that's totally cool. I do too. The general premise is this: knowing where the enemy jungler is will limit his impact and ganks, which is just as valuable as your own impact and ganks. It's a complex topic overall that I could spend 30 minutes or more going in depth about, but for the sake of this video, I'll try my best to spark notes how to do this. Knowing where the enemy jungler starts is an important first step. You can usually deduct this by which lane has given a leash, either top or bot. From this, try to guess his next steps based off of what champion he is playing. Is he playing a champion that might try to gank level 2 like Jarvan or Twitch? Is he playing a champion like Kayn, who almost always takes his entire red side jungle before showing anywhere else? Is he on a predator jungler like Gragas, who frequently does his red side clear into a gank there, then recalls, gets his predator boots, and goes to the blue side of the map and ganks after that? You can generally get a good idea of what the enemy jungler is up to in his first clear purely based off of his champion pick. You also need to try and think about what lanes the enemy jungler wants to gank, and after that, think about what lanes are easy for him to gank. Now, what you want to do and what you're realistically going to get are rarely the same thing. I want a steak dinner tomorrow, but I'm probably going to have to settle for a £3 Boots meal deal because, well, let's be honest, one of those things requires effort and the other one does not. The enemy jungler is often going to go straight for that meal deal if he sees it, because why not? No effort involved. But don't get it twisted, he wants the steak, and if he finds the effort to make it, he's going to be gobbling down that meat like the back rooms at a RuPaul house party. Tracking the enemy jungler is way more complex than that, but it's a good place for you to start. Another fundamental of jungling is that tilting is hella easy, but don't give in. Jungling is just like working in retail. You spend all game trying to help out and serve a host of ungrateful and limp penis teammates only to get blamed when the slightest thing goes wrong. Doesn't matter if it's your fault, of course, and it's irrelevant how underperforming laners can make the game literally unplayable for a jungler. You just gotta suck it up and accept you're the whipping boy of League of Legends. I mean, just look at the biggest jungle streamers on Twitch. They're all egotistical knobheads, and I'm not even using that as an insult. That is the coping mechanism of being a jungle main in League. It just kinda happens. You could, of course, watch my stream at fb.gg/foxshoplol, link in the description. I haven't quite nailed down that egotistical knobhead stuff just yet, but then again, I haven't quite nailed down that good at League of Legends part either, so yeah. Another fundamental is that jungling isn't about doing the best thing, it's about trying to do the best thing. Sounds kind of dumb, so hear me out on this one. As a jungler, there are so many different things that you could be doing at any given time. So many places you could be going, lanes you could be ganking, camps you could be farming, objectives you could be securing. It's impossible to nail every single one of those down, and despite what your team might think, it's unrealistic to expect you to do so. Jungling is all about using the information you have to make the best decision you can, even if in hindsight that decision doesn't give you the best outcome. There are loads of variables that go into jungling, and worst of all for you, it all revolves around 9 other unpredictable random individuals in your game. Let's take some examples here. So you might see a Draven on your team and think, hey, Draven plays more aggressive than an Abuelo equipped with La Chancla. They also tend to tilt off the face of the earth when presented with even the most minor of inconveniences because, well, they're just so alpha like that. Hashtag not a Title 1 fanboy. So you decide to adapt your jungle pathing, focus your entire early game on this guy, sit in his lane and coddle him to ensure that his aggression pays off. Well, what happens when your Draven lane loses 2v2? What happens when you can't even set up plays with him because he's permanently low on health from taking bad trades? You've taken a strategy and a playstyle that is now not only obsolete, but actually actively puts you behind. What you gonna do about that? Well, short answer is, you're screwed, mate. How about a different example? What if you anticipate the enemy jungler to gank your perma-pushing overextended Yasuo, so you sit and wait for the counter gank to keep him safe? Except, instead of ganking, the enemy jungler farms all his camps and gets a lead over you while you're essentially sitting around AFK. What happens when the Scuttle Crab then spawns and the enemy jungler has a level over you because he's been farming and you haven't? And guess what? You're screwed again, mate. The worst part is that you've not even really done the wrong thing or made a bad move. It's just how jungling is. Now, realistically speaking, of course, these situations should not happen more often than they do happen. And objectively speaking as well, that is an undeniable absolute truth. As much as we like to complain about it, these situations are the minority. It's our confirmation bias that puts a spotlight on them and makes us think that they happen more often than they do. The whole point I'm trying to make though is that things will go tits up. You will make a decision that you think is the right call and instead it backfires. But honestly, that's just part of jungling. Another fundamental is that confidence is key. Taking the core concept from that previous point, League of Legends is a game where there are a plethora of decisions to make. There's no real way to know what the best one is, and you're facing the very likely probability of failure and the consequences that come with that. It can be very easy to hesitate and overthink all your moves. Problem with that though is that I cannot emphasize enough how hesitation kills the jungle role. Your whole bloody role exists off of constant decision making. Adding hesitation to the mix is like entering the steeplechase with a horse that every time he jumps has to unsubscribe from Comcast. Which, you know, if you try to do that, that's tough. Yeah, and he's a horse too, so that would, you know, that would complicate things. A large part of jungling is your mental strength. Not just to avoid tilting, as I mentioned earlier in this video, but also to stay confident in your decisions. Sometimes you just gotta stick your balls through the whack-a-mole hole and hope the hammer isn't waiting for you on the other side. Personally, I actually really suck at doing this, having confidence, so yeah, if this resonates with you, then don't feel bad. Since we're getting towards the end of the video, guys, and before I get to my last points, just want to remind you, if you did enjoy this video, you can leave me with that cheeky thumbs up, and you can also subscribe to me if you want to see more of these kind of videos. I also do a lot of gameplay videos, like guide style stuff, teaching you how to become better junglers. Would love to see you around here more often. But anyway, the last fundamental I want to chat about today is adaptability and how it's really bloody important. As you might have picked up from the tone of this entire video, jungling is a pretty volatile role with loads of moving parts. This is actually one of the biggest draws to the role, at least for me. Keeps things fresh, makes me feel like a galaxy brain playing 6D chess when I predict the enemy's moves and whip him round the face with the combined force of my superior intellect and flaccid penis. Every rose has its thorns though, and the volatility also gives way to a need to adapt. I mean, you don't need to do it, but you'll be shit at jungle if you don't. My suggestions for having a plan B for when things go awry when you're jungling is to focus on who you think is the best chance of carrying the game. In the lane phase and beyond, this means hovering around that person's lane as best you can. In fights, it means protecting your MVP at all costs, or focusing the enemy's MVP if you're playing an assassin. How you identify who your carry is really dependent on the game. In theory, it could be anyone on your team. A good rule of thumb though is this: who sucks the least on your team? And if in doubt, just camp bot lane. AD carries usually have good tools for carrying in fights. I mean, the clue is kinda in their name. Plus, bot is a two-man lane, which means you're helping out more members than if you were going to mid or top. And nowadays, supports can really dish out the dirt, especially if you have like a Lux or a Brand on your team, or that dickhead Pyke. Don't get me started on that monstrosity of a champion. Seriously, a support should not do that much damage while having such insane playmaking ability and being safe as fuck and harder to punish than a sub with a daddy fetish. Sorry. I'm serious though, please remove Pyke. Actually, remove Zoe first, then you can remove Pyke. Anyway, I should stop the video there because I'm actually getting a little bit aggy. So thank you so much for watching the video today. I really hope that you enjoyed it. It's been a while since I made one of these kind of videos. I hope it's received well and it's helped you guys out. If you did like it, like I mentioned, give that cheeky thumbs up. You can subscribe to me for the Legends content. Do loads of gameplay stuff. I also stream pretty much daily. fb.gg/rockshoplow. The link to that will be in the description, alongside my other socials, Instagram and Twitter. I'll say it one more time, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Have a fantastic day, and I'll see you in my next.